going on, you guys? Slumpy here from First or Last Gaming, and we're back from the Philadelphia Regionals. And who are we here with?
Timmy, Roma.
All right, and what did you do this weekend?
So I took Malice to the Philly Regional and got second place.
Second place, nice. And there's 740 players, breaking the Philadelphia record for the most attendance in a Philadelphia Regionals. It's pretty crazy. What did you play against that Regionals?
So this regional, it was a perfect 50-50 split of Malice and Fiendsmith Riziel. Kind of what you'd expect.
All right, all right. Before we get into the deck profile, you have any shout outs you want to give out?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and shout out my buddy Roger, who me and him have been basically theorying and testing this deck ever since it first got announced in the OCG.
All right, let's go and get to this deck profile.
Yep, absolutely. So starting, of course, we maxed out on all Malice names. Currently missing my third white binder or white rabbit, but we absolutely wanted to see a Malice name in our opening hand, and especially since you'll see later, I'm playing a lot of Bestials. Cheshire Cat at 3 is, I feel, just extremely good, especially because I think Cheshire Cat is just the best way to start too. If your first action is normal Cheshire effect, drawing 2 first action is crazy, especially games 2 and 3 when I'm siding in cross out, because I if I can first action draw 2 and then see the cross up for like the nib or something, that's just broken. Next, of course, playing 3 of the field spell, also technically full combo, but it's also just an insane extender. Obviously, search is part of the combo, but it's an extender if you hard open one and you get interrupted. So you of course need to play 3 because it's very nice to see one in the opening hand. And then of course one of each of the traps, kind of have to play them. Your combo piece, your end board piece, and the interruption that you set on your opponent's turn. And there's, of course, no reason to play more than one of them. As nice as it is to dodge a card with the TB11, you really would rather not have to do that. And then one Gold Sark. This card actually was kind of crazy today because I just kept drawing it, and it performed as it was like the best extender like multiple times. And of course, it is also just a full combo by itself. And then, of course, my best frenemy here, Dotscaper, drew this guy way too many times today. But of course, it's still just a really good card to banish off Red Ransom as the extra body you need to go full combo. And then, as mentioned before, I am playing a lot of Bestials. So we were playing 3 Lubellion, 2 Druis Worm, 1 Mag, and 1 Baldric, and we were playing a Branded Regained. Bestials are just kind of insane. And they're especially in this deck because they work really well as extenders because any monster, if it gets hand trapped and you link it off, you can just banish it and you just go full combo. Lubellion, of course, just gives you more, and then the Regained is actually just a really good card because I love drawing cards, and also in the mirror, this card is a broken extender or a broken interruption. And I also love these cards because these 4 are an easy side out when going second. Nice to have cards that are easy to side out. For hand traps, of course, playing 3 Fulos. Not much need to say. This card's crazy, and the risk of drawing it going first is more than made up for by the benefit of drawing it going second. And then 3 Imperm, 3 Ash, and 3 Nib. I just felt like they were the best 1, 2, 3 hand trap. And although Ash definitely feels a little more mid now, but with the existence of Fulos, you just kind of have to play it. And then Imperm is Imperm, and then just a lot of people just tend to play. We're just playing it in Nib, and it was just really good. We were playing 2 talents. I was expecting to get hand tracked a decent amount, and this came up a lot with looking at my opponent's hand. My favorite was in my last round, game 3. My opponent had magma mudded me, and then I drew the talents off the white binder draw, and was like, "Oh, sweet, show me that hand." And then one called by. Some hand trap, like most singleton hand traps, aren't like really annoying enough to need called by 4, but this is mostly just we need as many outs to Lancey as possible. So we kind of had to play it. No reason not to play it in the main. For the extra deck, the Link ones, we have Link Decoder, Link Spider, and Lingeribo. Link Decoder, just an insane combo piece. Link Spider to help play through Nib, and Lingeribo is more for when you're going second into a Malice board. If you can establish early to deal with the traps that they have set. I never came up for me today, but it's still really good, and I would keep playing it. Next, for the Link 2s that you use for combo pieces, we have the Haggard Lizard and Splash Mage. Haggard Lizard is a funny card. Love banishing its costs, and the effect actually lowering my opponent's attacks came up like a lot today. It was kind of funny. And then, Splash Mage, you're playing a Cyber deck. Of course, you're playing Splash Mage. The other Link 2s were SP and Dark. SP, not much needed there. Dark was just kind of a kind of a tech choice potentially for the Malice mirror. It never really came up. It was like I just thought it was a decent choice, and I had like a 15th spot, so I chose Dark. I think going forward, I'm actually going to change this for Packbit for an extra terahertz target because Packbit's also kind of crazy. Of course, all three of the Malice Link 3s. This card is ridiculous. I love going second into a Fiendsmith board, into like Fiendsmith, and then just banishing all their Fiendsmith cards out of their graveyard when you summon it. It's just so crazy. And then for the Link 4s, Access Code and Firewall. Access Code, not much need to be said, help close games. Then, of course, the fact that it banishes cost is crazy. So even when they imperm it, you still get to just banish your Malice Links as costs to be able to then summon them back. And Firewall is a decent combo piece as well, but it's also like not a terrible thing to end on if you get interrupted, especially if you still establish like GWC and the White Binder and then you just end with a Firewall. That's still, you know, when you're going to GWC back the White Binder and have it co-link so you have a bounce. That happened multiple times. It's pretty cool. And then, of course, the Terahertz and its 2 targets. I mean, Terahertz is just a great card. And D-Save Worm, great. Spell Trap Negate, Aggregator, it's okay. D-Save Worm, funnily enough, I never actually once got to use it for the Spell Trap Negate, but I kept using it as a way to deal with my opponent's Bestials. Because like in like Malice mirrors, when I would get Magma Mudded, obviously I know they're going to add a Druid Swerve or something in end phase, but I would still go for the Terahertz to dump the D-Save Worm because then that forces them to use the Bestial and the D-Save Worm, and now they can't use it as a combo piece, so that was always just really nice. That happened multiple times. It was very great. And then for the side deck, of course, as I mentioned, I need as many outs to Lancia as possible. So we always, games 2 and 3, first or second, doesn't matter. We're siding in 3 crossouts and at least 1 copy of Lancia. If it's against Malice, we're siding in all 3 copies. Anything else, we side in 1 copy because I mean, it's literally an FTK against me. So I kind of have to have as many outs as possible to it. That was kind of one of the big differences today too. Was like I got Lancia'd like 6 or 7 times, and of all those times I got Lancia'd, only 1 time it actually resolved. Every other time I cross outed it, and I think maybe once I call bite it. But as opposed to me, I Lancia'd like 6 or 7 of my Malice opponents, and it always resolved. It never once got negated. So that was kind of nice. And then 3 shifter, because I mean, if you can play it and you can kill through it, especially, you might as well. A lot of decks that just literally can't do anything through it, and then you have easy OTK lines through it, so might as well. I don't think it's worth maining though. Especially, I mean, I played 50% Malice. Half my games it would have been dead today. 2 Ulti Slayer. I mean, it's a good card against the Razio end board. Being able to out the detonator and the field spell at the same time is pretty nice. I never actually got to use it today because the one time I actually did draw it, my opponent bricked, so I didn't play into it. So, but I would still keep playing it. And 2 thrust and with a D barrier with it. That's the main target I had off it. I mean, it could also, of course, add the Ulti Slayer, or if like I need an extender, it can add Gold Sark, which are all things that have come out before. Yeah, I like thrust, or talents, of course. Yeah, I like thrust. I would keep playing it for sure. And then last one, 15th slot, was Aprilia. Mostly because I didn't know what else to put in my 15th spot. I just had an extra spot and I wasn't much sure what to put into it. I thought about Karma Cannon, but I just didn't have a Karma Cannon, so I had one Aprilia, so I just put in Aprilia. It would probably, going forward, I'm probably gonna change this for like a Karma Cannon. Maybe even an anti-spell. I was thinking about anti-spell, because the amount of Malice Striker I saw was crazy, and an anti-spell would actually be kind of nice against it. And yep, that is the entire profile.
All right, well, thank you so much. I know you see you got Lancey a bunch of times. You know, 6 out of 7 those not resolving, so cross out being a huge factor into that. With the mirror match, did you ever think about like possibly like citing like Sanctum for like the thrust or anything
I have
crazy?
thought about citing. Of like that was one of the other options I was thinking about for the 15th spot was a Sanctum. I don't know. It's definitely a great option, especially with thrust, because it was funny too. Because like thrust is never something I usually cite against Malice. It's more for everything else because I never really feel like I have a good thrust target for Malice. But yeah, Sanctum would be a good choice. I just didn't do it for this one, but it's definitely one of the options.
Nice. Were there any like rogue decks you were like scared of at all, or any like other things that you were like, you know what, like my side's already good against like most of the decks or anything like that?
Yeah, so like I mean, I am for sure built more to play against Rizio, Fiendsmith, and Malice. So like I'm not scared of those, but they're like you were saying, Rogue decks. There are some that I would probably be scared of just like randomly seeing. I know Drytron is main decking copies of Lancia and they're searching it. So if I saw that and I watched them search a Lancia, I'd be terrified.
Guys, were there any like other techs you were thinking about playing in your deck at all, or anything you think that going forward in like the next couple of regionals you're thinking about changing up? I know you talked about the playing the Duruma cannon, also changing the pack bit in the extra deck.
Yeah, those are the two main ones. Like, because I was thinking about it multiple times. Like the Prulia was just kind of there as extra. Like I said, I would probably put something else in there. Karma Cannon is a decent option. Anti Spell I was actually also thinking about against Mouse Striker, like I said. But yeah, I think one of the big ones that for sure is happening is that I'm going to replace the Dark for a Pack Bit because I think Pack Bit's actually just kind of crazy against Malice when they're going into your board because if you just it just very cleanly outs the normal summon.
All right, well, thank you so much for the deck profile. What's the next couple events we're going to be seeing you at?
I might be going to the Hartford regional this weekend. I'm not 100% sure. It's kind of snowing out here, and I'm like 2 hours away. I'm not really sure if I want to drive 2 hours in the snow.
Mhm.
If not that, I will for sure be going to Orlando at the end of the month. I already got that one booked.
All right, well, thank you so much for the deck profile and Slumpy slipping out. Thank you guys.
Thank you.